Right, Lagos, Africa, Nigeria, and the world, you're welcome to the Sports Buffet on Elegbete TV Radio. My name is Daffy Matthew Esiogene. You love to come in the Elegbete One of Sports. It's a lovely day to talk about all of the beautiful talking points that have gone on in the beautiful world of football. The Germans are coming again, but this time they're coming for good. Okay, even if they are taking over the world, you will like it this time around. There is nothing negative about what's going on. So we go to Germany and we're going to school because I'm going to a man who, on the journalistic side of things, he's got journalistic excellence. He's magisterial. He's on top of his game. He's the best there is. Okay, if you've ever traveled abroad, gone to Europe and read the magazine, the bi-weekly magazine Kickers back in the day, this was the guy whose column you want to read. He's a veteran of multiple African Cup of Nations. He is also a veteran of the FIFA World Cup, like countless UEFA Champions League games, both in the qualifying stage, the knockout stage, and the final, and lots of Bundesliga games. If there's one man I want to talk to this morning to start my week on a beautiful note, knowing fully well how German coaches are doing currently. Liverpool won over the weekend. Yeah, you can say Thomas Tuchel experienced his first defeat. First time he's still discussing 3 goals since he took over from Chelsea over 50-something game. But Manchester United also for the very first time won a game at home without conceding a goal. Isn't that a miracle? It's a German miracle. But any man I've got today is a hard enough journalist, a man who is 66 years of age, who's given 35 years of his life to this beautiful game. What more can I say? I'm talking about Hardy Hasselbruch. Okay? I may not pronounce that name well, but I'll get him to pronounce it for you eventually, and you guys will know who I'm talking about. Now, let me read this for you so that you understand. Okay? He's worked on the Bundesliga and international soccer for at least 20 years, especially Italian, French, and African soccer. Visited the African Cup of Nations tournament since 2002 in Mali. Former second division league professional and student of international chess. Hadi is friends with our very own Osaso Baywana and my very own blood brother, my friend and my brother, Shino Okeleji of the BBC. Okay, do I need to say more? I'm going to bring up a man who is ubiquitous. When he moves, the planet moves. When he speaks, the world and the world beyond listen. This is the guy that I have on the show today. If you're not listening to the Sports Buffet, where we'll have a menu well set for you, then you're missing.
It's actually an honor that I have a veteran, a legend, an icon of the sports on my show this morning, all the way from Germany. Okay, so I'm going to start with what city in Germany are you at, so that my listeners know where you're originally from.
I'm living in Nuremberg. It's near to Munich, in the south of Germany.
All right, so you know that we have a German coach as the head coach of Nigerian national team. Up until a few weeks ago, he was in charge of the team, but then we've been having the discussion to fire him or to keep him for the African Nations Cup. That's a conversation that will come later because he's a mutual friend. It's the person that connected us together. But then I need you to talk to my listeners about your journey in this industry as a player and then as a journalist, how it started, how far you've come.
Well, it started with school at first and soccer career at the same time, and I was playing in the second league for Hanover. It's in the north of Germany. And afterwards I played in France.
In progress.
All right, no, go ahead.
It was in the near of Toulouse and was my final point in the career. Afterwards I started working as a journalist.
How did you, going from a footballer like I was to pick up your interest in journalism?
Well, I've studied physical education and German language, and both of them are basics for the journalism, and was a very interesting thing to do it, and nearly at the beginning of my work I had the offer to come to Nuremberg to famous Kicker magazine, and I started it in '86, my career was kicker.
And in that period, what are the memorable highlights? The players that you cover, the games that you cover, the competitions or tournament or championship that you covered. What are the beautiful highlights that you can remember from 1986 up until this moment?
Well, there were a lot of highlights. For me, the best things to do was always going to Africa for the Cup of Nations. I liked it very much, but I also visited World Championships, nearly all the tournaments the last few years, and I've met a lot of good types, like for example Gernot Rohr, your national team manager. Also as big stars like Kaká, like Didier Deschamps. Well, it was a great adventure, I would say.
How many languages do you speak for a journalist that have traveled around the world to cover different championships? How many languages do you speak?
I couldn't understand.
How many language do you speak?
Only three: German, French, and English.
Well, that's quite a lot from my own perspective, because I can only speak English and probably a little bit of Swedish, because I was there for a while playing football in Sweden. But beyond that, let's get into the nitty-gritty of our conversation. First off, when you hear people talk about the World Cup being hosted every 2 years, how does it come to your mind? How does it feel to you?
No, I'm against, because it's too much for the players. I think a tournament every all 4 years, it's enough, I would say. Even if I know that African federations will agree to play 2 years in the rhythm, but I'm really against this.
All right, beyond the World Cup, let's look at Germany. I mean, first you had a coach, Jürgen Klinsmann, and it felt like Jürgen Klinsmann came to set a foundation. Then Joachim Löw benefited from that foundation, went on to win the World Cup, and thereafter, all of a sudden, from Otmar Hitzfeld to every other coach, Jürgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel, now Ralf Rangnick, who's the coach of Manchester United. It seems like everything a German touches turns gold. What's the secret of German coaches becoming the best all of a sudden across Europe?
Well, I don't know if there is a secret, because it's a question of experience and discipline, I would say. I think we have a good system of licensed coaches, and it's a good kind of education, and I think it's very important to have a good education. Even if we have a lot of licensed coaches, there is the top of the scene, and as you mentioned, Matthew, we have at this moment we have 3 German coaches in the English Premier League, and I think it's about a lack of English education.
The amazing thing is, in England, the Premier League started since 1992, if my memory serves me right. And between 1992 and now, no English coach have won the English Premier League. But then we've had Jürgen Klopp winning the league with Liverpool, who's not won it in over 30 years. Now we have Thomas Tuchel choosing the league again, and then Rangnick it's coming to Manchester United to restore some types of parity. Let's start with Jürgen Klopp. What is the thing that makes this whole Genge pressing with Jürgen Klopp so special?
Well, I think at first he's a very good type. He's a really a friend to the players, and his theme is at first motivation. He talks a lot to the players, and he's a very good motivator. He did it when he was coach in Dortmund at his beginning, because the secret is that Jürgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel, they started their coaching career at Mainz 05. It's a small club in the near of Frankfurt, and I think they have very good basics. Both of them, they studied physical education, and they are graduated, so they have very good basics for this job, I think. Jürgen Klopp had a lot of success with Liverpool. He won the title with Liverpool. He was winning the Champions League, and he nearly did it with only one team with 11 players, and he didn't change a lot. That's the difference to, for example, Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is a friend of rotation. He also likes gegenpressing. So both of them are playing very offensive, and especially Liverpool, it's some kind of spectacle, I would say. But I think Thomas Tuchel, he also will do it in the way like Klopp did.
All right. You also have other coaches in Germany like Julian Nagelsmann, who's the coach of Bayern Munich, and then you have Hansi Flick, who left Bayern Munich to the German national team, and all of a sudden is turning the German national team into a formidable force after a slight slump. But let's focus on the Manchester United coach, interim coach, Ralf Rangnick. He's been more of a behind-the-scene man, youth developer, scout, somebody who is a fixer, who tries to be the bridge between players and clubs, who gets in the right kind of players in. He's never coached a club with such big characters, big names like Cristiano Ronaldo, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and the rest of them. Do you think, yes, he won yesterday, 1-0, first time Manchester United have a clean sheet, but do you think that is the man that would fix Manchester United problem? Even though, yes, all German coaches, as Flick, Julian Nagelsmann, Jürgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel, all of them are doing well. You think Ralf is the guy that would make Manchester United get back to the top of the league table in a couple of years?
Well, I know him very well because we played together in a German national team for students. And I know that for him it was big dream to come into Premier League. Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs all over the world, and also in the Premier League. And for him it was some kind of a big dream to come to Premier League. But I think it would be very difficult to organize a team like Manchester United with all stars like Cristiano Ronaldo and all the other guys. And as you see, or as you saw yesterday, he didn't change nothing. He played with the same team. They played versus Arsenal 3 days ago. And I think it's very difficult to involve his tactic with game.
All right, so Rangnick talked about pressing, and in his own idea of pressing, this is what he said. He said, you either press completely or you are not pressing, right? And he said that pressing is like pregnancy. There is no such thing as a little bit of pregnancy. You are either pregnant or you're not pregnant. Can he get people like Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, and the rest of them, can he get them to press in the way Jürgen Klopp have gotten Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, Mo Salah, and the rest of his squad to press at Liverpool?
I I think it's impossible for him because he has no time because of the matches they have, especially in December at the end of the year, and it's difficult for him to manage a new style, even with these players. They are habited to play their own role, and Ralf Rangnick likes to have special players for his tactics. So I think it would be very difficult to increase his tactical science.
All right, let's talk about your friend and our mutual friend, Gernot Rohr. You've known Gernot Rohr for a very long time, and it's coached in some African country, Burkina Faso and the rest, and then he came to Nigeria at a time where we had not qualified for the Nations Cup for 2 years, and then he showed up. But since then, he's really not found that love from the fans, and what I mean is there is always the issue of his playing pattern, the team is not playing properly, was struggling to win. Small countries like Central African Republic comes to Nigeria to beat us. Cape Verde comes here to get a draw. Nigeria took a 4-goal lead against Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and it ended in a 4-4 draw. What do you know about Gernot Rohr? And looking at his result from Nigeria, and as a man who's covered the African Nations Cup and also know Nigeria very well, what can you say about the time of Gernot Rohr as a coach of the Super Eagles?
Well, I know him for a long time. He has had a lot of experience as a player with Girondins Bordeaux. He even played with Bayern Munich before, and he has had a very good coach in Bordeaux with Émile Jacquet, who won the World Championship '98, and he's very experienced in Africa. But I know that Nigeria is special because of the big country, of the crowd you have in Lagos and Abuja. But the problem is to have a balance in the team. I think in former times Nigeria had better players with JJ Okocha and all these guys who won the Olympic title '96 in Atlanta. I think that was the best team Nigeria had in former times. And now he's obliged to find good players and at first balanced players. I think there are some problems to have good players in defense and in midfield, because I don't see any playmaker like Okocha in this team. Even if there is a strength in attack with good strikers, with goal getters like Osimhen, Iheanacho, Igalo, but the problem is to create a good system, a balanced system. And the problem for every national coach is that he don't have the time to train a lot with his team. So he is very busy, and there is a lack of time to create his own system with the Eagles.
Okay, so let's talk about, you going out to the league and watching the Bundesliga. Let's talk about African players in the German Bundesliga he beats. Give me your own notes. Let's compare notes. Now give me your own note of African players, Nigerian players in the Bundesliga and how you rate them.
Well, we have had a lot of good African players in Bundesliga, also Nigerian players, as you know. But at first, you must know it, in Bundesliga everything is very disciplined. That's not so good for African players, because they like to have fun when they are playing soccer. But the problem is also because of language, because African players are speaking English or French, and German is another language. So it's difficult to learn the language, to contact with the coach, to contact with the other players. But even if this is a big problem, we have good African players in Germany, like, for example, in this moment, the Nigerian Awoniji.
Yeah, Taiwan.
Well, he's a very good player. He's a very good striker, and he is good for Union Berlin because he's a very good striker, very fast, very strong, and he's very successful at this moment. One of the best strikers we have in Bundesliga.
Okay. What do you have to say about Akpoguma, Kelvin Akpoguma, as a defender?
Well, I know that he started his international career with Gernot now. He's very talented as a defender. Normally, in my point of view, he's a central defender. And now he's playing on the right wing as a fullback. But I don't know if this is the right position for him. He decided to play for Nigeria because I think he knew that in Germany he had no chance to enter the national team. But he's a very good guy, intelligent guy, and I think for a Nigerian team he's a very good player because he's useful in all defensive positions.
Okay, so let's break down the Nigerian team a bit. Earlier on you said that we have forward players, but there is no balance in the team. When you say that, what do you mean? We have midfielders like Wilfred Ndidi, we have Alexi Wobi, we have Joe Aribo, Ogenekari Tebo, and even in defense we have Kevin Akpoguma, Leon Balogun, Trust Ekong, Ola Chidozie Awazim, as a veteran of the African Nations Cup. Are you saying that these players are not good enough for Ghana to mold a team that can go on and win the African Nations Cup?
I think it's a question of time. If they will have stages to train with the team, it will be better. As you saw, the last championship in Russia, I think Nigeria performed very good, and I know that Gernot is very proud that Igalo turns back to the team because in my point of view he's a very important player, very skillful player, and I would say he's a good guy because he can lead the team, and for me it's very important to have leaders in the team. So I think the team of Eagles are very skillful, but they must prove that they can be better. And as I know, every match in Africa is difficult. When you are playing abroad, it's very difficult because Nigeria is one of the biggest countries in African soccer, and everyone wants to win against Nigeria.
That's true.
Yeah, it's normal. It's like for Germany in Europe, but I think Gernot is on a good way with the team, and you must have confidence to Gernot.
You have been a veteran of the African Nations Cup. You've come to cover a lot of the competition. Can you give me a note of some of the players that have really impressed you when it comes to coming to cover the African Nations Cup since 2002 in Mali?
Well, a good friend of mine was Rigobert Song. He was the big chief of Cameroon team, and I know him very well. He's a very good guy, and he has learned a lot of experiences in Europe, because as you know, he started playing in France. Afterwards he plays in England with Liverpool. He has gone to Italy. He was in Turkey, and he came to Germany, to Cologne. And Rigobert was a big chief in Cameroon team, and Rigobert Song was a big chief in African soccer.
Beside Rigobert Song, are there other players that stays in your memory for a very long time? Beside Rigobert Song of Cameroon, the former captain of Cameroon, are there other players from Africa during the Nations Cup that you covered that stays in your memory?
Yeah, of course. I've seen a lot of players like Sami Eto'o, the Nigerian players, very good players like JJ Okocha, who played very well in Germany with the Frankfurt. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, a good striker who was playing with Arsenal, and I've seen a lot of players in all these years, and I know that African soccer is very, very talented.
Okay, so every time I speak to a journalist from Europe, or whether we're in the forum or having a conversation, there's always this talk about African football having plenty of talent. And there's no doubt, there's no argument about it. But what do you think is responsible for African football not being able to rise up to the level of European football to compete properly? There are 54 nations in Europe, 54 nations in Africa, but then we present only 5 countries for the World Cup. Europe is presenting 13. I mean, it's strange. I don't know how they come about the sharing formula, but that's strange. What can Africa do to step up to the plate?
Well, I think, in my point of view, it's a question of organization. It's a question for the federations. They must work for the soccer. They must work for the players, and they have to be. Sure to be better the next few years, so they have to be constantly with their players and their teams. I think they are changing too much the coaches, and they are not stable in their development. That's the biggest problem they have.
All right, you've been to the Nations Cup since 2002. Would you describe the African Nations Cup as a little tournament?
No, it's for sure it's a big tournament with all these teams. Especially I watched the team of Cameroon because at the beginning of the time there was a German coach with Cameroon. His name was Winnie Schäfer, and I knew all the players of the team. I even stayed in hotels with them, and I know that they are good players and good guys, and I've seen it with Ghana, for example, with my friend Anthony Buffalo. They have good teams, very talented players, but there's a lack of stability in the teams. But I saw that it's very difficult for the teams because of the long distance the players have to go to play at home for their teams, and I think it's very difficult to be stable in such situations.
Right, we're about a month away from the start of the African Nations Cup in Cameroon. And as we speak, there are rumors already that some of the European clubs are lobbying the European government to pronounce this lockdown against the Omicron virus, which is the third strain of the coronavirus, and that would automatically stop most of the African players that are playing in Europe from coming to the African Nations Cup. As a journalist that loves the African football and also love the game, the Nations Cup itself, the African Nations Cup, what would you say about this intending decision, this impending decision, this thing that might happen, where the European coaches, the European clubs will say we're not going to release our players, just like they did during the World Cup qualifiers when they say red listed countries like Cape Verde, they didn't allow their players to go play there. What do you say to that?
Well, I know the problem since years. For every tournament, the clubs try to keep the African players in Europe. That's not a new problem. Now we have another situation with the virus, but for me it's normal that European clubs would release their players to African Cup of Nations. It's normal. They are forced to let them go because it's the biggest tournament in Africa, and then when we have the European Championship, every national team is proud to have their best players for the tournament, and German clubs and coaches must accept that African Cup of Nations is the biggest tournament in Africa. They must accept that the players will go and they have to go to the tournament.
Thank you very much for that, and let's come to one very serious conversation that I've been having lately. How much financial involvement does the German government put into the German national team? How does the German national team get funded in terms of preparation for matches, in terms of paying your players allowances and bonuses and all that? How does the money come?
It's a question for the German Federation and not for the government. I know that in Africa the governments are mixed up with the federations, but you have to separate it. I know the problem of African federations, that they are rarely independent because of money, but they must try to be independent and to be stable, and I think this is one of the biggest problems in Africa you have, that the federations, they will earn money, they must earn money, but they must also be independent from governments.
Okay, but in Germany, does the German government fund the national team?
No. Well, they gave money when we built stadium for Championship 2006, but that's normal. But otherwise, the government has nothing to do with finances and federation. That's the problem of the federation.
So how do you pay your coaches and your senior national team coaches, the development coaches, the youth coaches, and your players match bonuses?
Well, it's money from the federation. They earned it with marketing, with ticketing, with TV rights, and the federation is really independent.
Okay. Now, when we talk about the veterans of African football that played in the German Bundesliga, you have Anthony Yeboah, you have Austin JJ Okocha, Victor Agali that played for Schalke 04, Jonathan Akpobore that played for Stuttgart in Germany. How would you rate this Nigerian player? There's also Karibo Jigo that played for Bayern Leverkusen. How would you rate these Nigerian and African players that brought excitement to the German Bundesliga?
Well, it depends on the players. Germany is a big European country, and Germany loves soccer. It's the most important sport we have, and everybody looks soccer games in the stadiums, in TV, and it's the biggest sport in Germany, the most famous, and therefore the clubs can earn money with good soccer, and it's a question of the league, who's very well organized, the Bundesliga, from the DFL, who's independent from the federation. And I think that's a big secret of successes in German football.
Yeah, you just talk about the DFL, which is the people that run the league, and you said they are independent from the FA. Can you explain that to me, please?
Well, it's the DFL, Deutsche Fußballliga, is responsible for the professional soccer. It means for the first league, second league, third league. So we have 56 professional clubs, and they are organized in the first two leagues. The Bundesliga and second league are organized from the DFL. The third league is organized by the federation, but it's also a professional league. And I think the most important thing in soccer, in professional soccer, is organization. As you see it in England, for example, as you see it in Italy or in Spain. And that's the most important thing, to have a good organization in soccer.
In your journey in Africa, can you say that we have good organization in Africa?
I don't think so. Could be better.
All right, so I'm going to ask you this question about JJ Okocha, one of the best exports from Nigeria. What is your impression of JJ Okocha? Do you think that with the talent he had, he went to the best clubs with his career, or he tanked it?
Well, I think he has had a great career, especially when he played in Frankfurt. He was one of the most skillful players I've seen in my life. I didn't agree with him that he went to Premier League, but as I know, he earned a lot of money in Premier League, and he had good arguments to go to Premier League. But I think he he has had the chance to play for bigger clubs. Even if he played in Frankfurt and in Premier League, he was a player in former times for clubs like Real Madrid or Barcelona or Juventus Turin.
Wow. But then, as we look forward to the next African Nations Cup in January, can you put your hand in your heart of magic, in your basket of magic, and tell me who the top 2 teams would be from all the teams that are going to participate in the Nations Cup?
Well, I know the rivalry between Black Africa and North African teams.
Yeah.
I think because the tournament will be played in Cameroon, should be the fourth for Black African teams. But it's a question of discipline. In my point of view, I know that one of the best teams in this moment is Algeria, is Morocco. I don't believe in Egypt, but I know about a lot of talent in the teams of Nigeria and perhaps Ghana also. But I think it will be an advantage that the tournament will be played in Cameroon. And I know that Black Africans are doing very well when they are playing in Black Africa and not in North Africa.
True. But Nigeria went to North Africa in 1994 in Tunisia and we won it. So Nigeria have won the tournament in Nigeria, which is Black Africa, West Africa. Nigeria have won it in the North, in Tunisia. Nigeria have also won it in the South in 2013. That said, it's almost the time that I let you go. So let me get something from you. The current German national team that is handled by Hansi Flick. This is the first time I'm seeing a German team that doesn't have 2 strikers. Back in the day, you have Jürgen Klinsmann and then you have Rudi Völler. Then you have Olivier Bierhoff and Jürgen Klinsmann. And then you had Miroslav Klose and then you had Mola. This current team, you seem not to have that, but then the team is still winning. What has changed in German football?
Well, I would say the secret of German success was, in my point of view, having a good goalkeeper and having a goal-getter. That's the most important thing. As you mentioned, all these strikers, like Gerd Müller, the famous one, up to Klinsmann or Klose, it's very important to be realistic in a tournament. And there we have, at this moment, we have a small lack. We don't have a real goal-getter. It means when you have Werner, who's playing with Tuchel in Chelsea, he is very fast player, he is a very good player, but he's another type than, for example, the other goal-getters. And that makes a difference. And therefore, we have some problems for this moment, but we have some new players, new strikers, who could follow to the old strikers. It means we have a young player, his name is Mecha, a back player from Wolfsburg who came from Man City, and another one is playing in Austria with Salzburg. His name is Adijemi, who is coming from Munich, and both of them are very fast and very skillful. So let's hope that German strikers will get in form.
All right, finally, before I let you go, there is the contentious issue of the Ballon d'Or. Some school of thought, some fans, some people believe that Lewandowski was robbed, especially last year. He should have won it without any issue, but then COVID stopped it. And this time around again, looked like he was supposed to win it, but then the vote went to Messi with 33 votes difference. What is your position? Because this is an award that is voted for by just journalists across the world. 180 journalists across the world voted. I don't know if you are one of those who voted. I know I did not vote, but if you voted, maybe let's know how you voted. But if you didn't vote, what is your take on the Ballon d'Or?
Well, I know the Ballon d'Or since long time. And I was very disappointed that Lewandowski didn't win the award. Messi wasn't a good choice because he was not so important for Barcelona last year, even if he scored a lot of goals. But they didn't win a European title. I know that he won the Copa with Argentina, very important in South America, but for me it was unbelievable that Lewandowski didn't win the Ballon d'Or. It was a bad choice.
But my argument when I explained to my listeners was the fact that Lionel Messi was nominated alone from South America, so there was no serious contenders like Neymar and Suarez and any other player so the South American vote and some from the North America and even a few from Europe was going to go to Messi. But then for Lewandowski, there was Mbappe, there was Karim Benzema, Kevin De Bruyne, all these other European players that was going to take away some vote from Lewandowski. In 2013, Cristiano Ronaldo did not win anything, but there were a lot of South American players nominated. There was Suarez, there was Neymar, and then there was Lionel Messi. And Cristiano Ronaldo won it because the European block of vote went to Cristiano Ronaldo, and Neymar and Messi and Suarez had to split the vote from South America. Could that be one of the reasons why Lewandowski didn't win this award?
Well, I think one of the problems is, and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the former chief of Bayern Munich, told it, the problem for Lewandowski is the Polish national team. Poland didn't win any title, and it's a small team, and this could be the difference between Lewandowski and Messi, for example, that Messi won the Copa for the first time with Argentina, and Lewandowski, he couldn't win anything with Poland because the team is too small. But you must see, Bayern Munich is dependent on the goals of Lewandowski. He scored 41 goals in Bundesliga, and he was the best goal getter in Champions League last year. And for me, it's very important, all these goals he scored for Bayern Munich. And in my point of view, he was the best player of the last year, like last year also. And for me, it's, well, he's a sacrifice from Europeans, as you mentioned, with other players like Mbappe or Kevin De Bruyne, for example, or Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That's a problem, and therefore, for me, it was unbelievable that Messi won once again the Ballon d'Or.
All right, thank you very much, Harry Hasselbruch, as you said I should call it. Thank you for having time for us on the show today and dealing on so many issues. Hopefully we will get you back again some other time in the future, and when that time comes, I hope that you'll be available for us. But thank you very much for being on the Sports Buffet on Elegbeta TV Radio today.
Thank you for calling. Bye bye. Have a good time.
Yeah, bye. Have a great day yourself. That was Harvey Hasselbruch, a man that has covered football from every part of the world and is shown what stuff is made of, and really giving us the very best of his knowledge concerning all of the topical conversation. If you're a fan of Manchester United, I don't think you'll be very, very happy with what he said, because it doesn't seem like he thinks Ralph Rangnick will be the man who changes things. He's on the wheel right now, but it seems like that wheel is running on shaky legs. Things might just not go the way he wants them to go.